MTL has taken its next steps in Veve, with the cash out button now appearing and most likely the beta testing in progress. So what should we be doing right now? Should we panic sell all of our collectibles, buy in, or see what the market trends do? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome in everyone, my name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and hang out with me and all of these wonderful people. Before we get started, if you're enjoying the content and you want to see me develop this content further, as well as talk more about the crypto, NFT and finance space, then I'd love for you to be a part of this journey. Yesterday we got screenshots and they're on the veve.ome website that you can go on, you can log onto your wallet and you can see where the verification process for cashing out is here. Now we have this screenshot here, which it tells about the personal data, the date of birth, and obviously you're going to have some form of ID in order to do so. And there was another second step in this process if you were able to get it, where the application form is here, where you're just filling in some of your data. Now this is amazing to see, as Reese has talked about this, and he talked about this on Foster's stream, where the MTL was coming, the cash out button would be there, but not everyone would be able to use it. So it seems to me that the beta testers are probably beta testing it right now to see how they can make sure to move forward with it and then allow the phases to come out with most doing it. And this was kind of awesome to see, because some people were losing a little bit of faith of when the MTL was coming and all that sort of stuff. And I understand that it's your own investment, it's your own money. However, for me, when I was always getting into OMI, I was here for a couple years. I really couldn't care when it was happening. I knew that it would happen and I knew that we're probably doing a lot of things in the background. It's not to say they shouldn't have promised some other things. I've actually really liked with how they've went with one of the tweets they made yesterday, where they've not given a specific date. They've just told us that they're working on it. I think that's so much better considering some of the things that we've got in the past, and it just allows them to work on it and then they can put it out when it's out and it's ready to go. This again was amazing because we were able to understand a little bit more about what the market does, how people react and more. And with the OMI token actually increasing by about 20% as of yesterday, and if we look at the OMI token now, it's about 0.0068. So again, it's still continuing to rise at the moment. It's up 18% in the last 24 hours, which is great to see. What we're mostly going to be talking about today though is the market within Veve. This is a place I really enjoy, as I've come from a FIFA background of trading, even though I'm trying to sound like that's a professional job. It's something I really enjoyed to do in the past and something I've really enjoyed to do within Veve as well. But we're going to understand the markets a little bit more, what you could potentially do and think about doing with your collectibles or your gems that you have. I've actually made a video on this and the speculation that I've made on what could happen when the MTL actually does arrive. And the conclusion that I came to in that video, if you're not willing to watch all of it, was that I believe that if they time it correctly, the market could actually take a massive upswing with a lot of new money coming in and not as much money going out. There was a poll I'd done on YouTube and on Twitter, but the YouTube one had more votes, so it's easier to sort of bring a generalization in, that most people were only going to be taking out about 10% of the money that they'd invested, and I think there was around about 16% that said they were going to take out basically everything that they've put into it so far. That does go to show that there is a lot of people here who are still here for the long run, and yes, I know there's over 1 million active users and 600 votes isn't going to cut it for everyone, but it's just a better understanding of what it could potentially be and what we could be looking at seeing. I would actually recommend checking out that other video as well, as obviously we've not had the MTL news and not been actually able to physically see what's going on there to now understand why and what is actually happening. With this news yesterday, we actually saw quite a heavy dip in the market, with seeing the things like C3PO going all the way down from about 860 gems all the way down to 650 at one point, which is nuts to think about because it does show that there is a crash coming and there is some form of crash that's happening right now. The comparison I'm going to make here again is based off of the Marvel drops and the Disney drops themselves. This happened both times where the market dropped easily between 10 and 40% for some of the collectibles. But after this had happened and after people were able to move their money elsewhere to get in for the drops, we saw a massive spike that actually led to all-time highs in both of the fronts. Best example I can show you when it comes to Disney itself is any of the golden moments after what we'd actually finished. Now we can see here that C3PO was sitting at around a 740 price point before shooting up to its all-time high about 1350, I believe, or around about 1340 when he reached his all-time high. This was directly after Walt had finished and more people were wanting to get into everything else. Just as a second backup point for this, we're going to be looking at when Spider-Man from Marvel was actually announced, released, and then after it. So if we go on to Superman, we're looking at around the 7th of August, if I'm not mistaken. So we see Superman was actually about 480, 495, 489. Then after Spider-Man had dropped, it was 434. And look at this massive dip for the foreseeable. We see that there was a massive drop in Superman's price all the way down to 291 and actually being at the lowest on the 30th of that month at 255. But what did we see after this? We saw a slow organic rise of Superman higher every single time that Butt had actually made it. 649 shooting up to 1090, surpassing that and going to 1400, an all-time high, which is nuts to think about that it got there. Now, after reaching that all-time high, we got the announcements of things like Disney coming out. He slowly started to dip again, all the way down to 880, 850, as we got through the Disney collectibles, going all the way down from $13.99 to 850, and we've slowly started to see a rise again, but now we're falling again because of the MTL announcement. He's went up to 1350 after that was over, once people started to get it again. Now we've got the announcement for MTL, we see Superman going down once more. He was sitting at 1350, nearly reached his all-time high after that had finished, after Disney was done, and now we've got down to 1025 after we've got the announcement that the MTL was moving forward. Obviously there's a lot of information that I'd thrown at you there, but I want you to understand what happens in the market and why, and what the average investor actually does. We've talked about this plenty of times, but when the market has announced something, when something happens, something big, Marvel's coming, people sell off to make sure they've got enough for it. Disney's coming, people sell off to make sure they've got enough for it. MTL's coming, some people are selling to make sure they've got enough gems for the potential buys that they're going to be getting on deals. Other people are selling because they're actually going to take some gems out, and some other people are just selling because they're panicking. So 3 levels of people who are selling are going to decrease the price, but this means there's not only going to be a lot of deals on the app, there's going to be a lot more new people coming in once this actually happens, because they now know you can get into Veve and you can take your money out, which is something a lot of people have been waiting for this whole time. The reason so many are on OpenSea, the reason so many are on Immutable X, the reason so many are on Top Shot is because now you can take your money out. You can put money in, make money in the app, and take it out. This is an amazing aspect that a lot of people have actually been waiting on. And what I'm seeing right now is a small market dip with also a correction for people who have been waiting on that dip. They believe that this will be the final dip that we'll have because MTL has been sort of announced with the beta program going forward. So they've bought in, and that's why we can see on the spreadsheet here with C3PO that we've seen a sharp dip here all the way down to 640, all the way from about 750 going all the way down to about 650, but it's now climbing again to 740 with the number of listings going down even further. From here, I'm seeing that people have took a little bit of a panic when MTL came. They're thinking, I've not got my gems out quick enough, or there's people who are wanting to get deals, so selling off before this bigger dip happens to then buy back in, as they've saved about 100 gems on C3PO, one of the best Disney collectibles that there is. What I see happening is that as this has progressed further forward, and as we see more people getting into this space and into the testing, or if the phases start to come out really quickly, then this market dip will happen even further and you'll get a lot more deals. Now again, I'm going to go back to the point that I made on my other video. If they time this well and they roll it out slowly, and they also make the transfer to the Ethereum chain sort of around the same time, you might not actually have that big a window, and there might not be things that you'll get deals on. Often what people have found is that if you stay convicted in the times where the biggest dips do happen, especially with your blue chip collectibles, you're often going to see an all-time high after that happens. Once Marvel was over, Superman saw one of his all-time highs after doing so. Once Disney finished, he near enough climbed back to his all-time high and may have even surpassed it at one point, but spreadsheet uses a specific time window within that, so maybe he did pass it at some point. On this screen actually, you can see that you only reached about 1350, but in Butt's one we saw it was 1399, so I'm guessing that we haven't yet reached another all-time high after Disney. To me, that's probably because Disney's are actually blue chips as well, and they're all blue chips, so it's potentially not going to be allowing it to do just that right now. I do see the market continuing to give us some more deals as we go through this process. I just don't think the window is going to be as big as some of you may think it is. And if enough new money comes into the space and whales actually do start to pick up some of these blue chip NFTs, they genuinely might be out of reach for specific instances. I'm not saying this is going to happen for everything, as we know that's probably just not the case, but there are going to be some things, especially when big money comes into the scene, thinking, what are the best things to buy on this platform? What can I get right now? That's the likes of the Disney collectibles, Todd McFarlane, Season 1 stuff, Venture Pride, and some other stuff here and there. So you've got to make sure that you have your plan ready for this and you stay convicted with it. Market's obviously hard to truly grasp because you don't really know how it's going to go, but this is the first time we've been able to see the trend of how MTL is going to make the market play out. From what I'm seeing, people panic sold with a quick correction right from the get-go. And I think there's going to be some other dips as we get more understanding of how MTL was going to play out and when we're actually going to get access to it. However, if they get the timing right, we may not see as big as a dip as people may think. And you might have to be quick if you're saving your gems right now for a potential massive sell-off of the market. I'm not 100% sure what's going to be going on, but I'm going to make sure that I'm going to have some gems on the sideline while still holding my blue chip NFTs to make sure that I'm keeping some there if the deals come along, and also making sure I'm staying convicted in my plan for this. But what do you think about the market trends right now? Are you selling off everything, make sure you have it ready for the deals, or are you holding to make sure that when the new money comes in, you are still convicted in your plan? I'd love to know down in the comments. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.